Alright, so I start out here in Photoshop, and we're going to make a new document, and the new document's going to be something like a real small, like 128 by 128 by 72 pixels. Okay, so a very small document. Make sure you have the rulers on, and just click and drag, and you'll feel that from the ruler you'll have this little line, and it clicks in the center. That's where the exact center point of the picture is. So let's make a center point from both the vertical and horizontal, and let's click and drag the marquee tool from there to there. Now we're going to fill this with some kind of neutral color, gray. Now you can use black and white if you wanted to, but I like to use a dark gray and a light gray. That way it's not so hard on my eyes. Now with inorganic objects, it's sort of important to be able to put a number here. Organic objects, not so much. So I'm typing a 1 here, and it's not showing up because it's huge. So I'm putting a 1 there in the darker color, using Alt to copy paste it over. So if you use Alt, you can click and drag. And then I'm going to put that here also, but change it. So grab the text tool. I'm going to change this to a 0. Now a 0 is really kind of hard to see if it's upside down or not, right? What a number that you can definitely tell if it's upside down is a 5. Five cannot make another number. It looks like a 2 sometimes, but yeah, it's a very universal number. Like an 8 and a 0, not a very good choice. Okay, just going to choose that color there, and this is going to go here. Again, Alt, and there we go. Alright, so take the marquee tool, go from corner to corner, and go Edit, Define Pattern. And I'm going to call this my 128 pattern. And then you can go File, New, and choose something like 1024, or 1024 by 1024, which is in the power of 2. 72 resolution. Grab your bucket tool by clicking here. Usually it's under the gradient tool, and the student is oh so lost every time, but it's right there. Pattern, and you could choose this one. And there we go. We got a lot of 1s and 5s. So there we have the texture that we need, and you'll always be using this for any inorganic object. I like saving these as TGA, and I'll call this UV check. I'll call it 24-bit pixels. And in Maya, let's go back to it. I'll show you how to bring that in. Window, Rendering Editors, Hypershade. In the Texture tab, I'm just going to push this over here so I got more room. Clicking and dragging there. So in here, I'm going to be dragging from my hard drive, desktop, the sign, UV check, and I'll make a material. So go to Materials, Go to Lambert, click on that. Go back to Textures, middle mouse button, click and drag to the Lambert 3 and choose Color. Clicking on this will bring you over here. If you click on this button, you can name this UV check. And that just makes it so it's really easy to find that checker pattern, and I can assign it by just going like this. Go to Object Mode, click on Object, right click, assign existing material, UV check. Another way you can do that is having the hypershade open. You can have materials, you can middle mouse button click and drag it over to the pole too. And you can see something. These are not uniformed, meaning that the squares are not squares. These are clearly rectangles, and these are clearly rectangles going the other way, and we have to get them over to squares. So that's the deal, and that's why we have to make this texture. Alright, so how do we rectify this? Well, let's grab the UVs of the sign, and let's go over here. Notice that there is two things here. There's two sets. We do not want set 1. We want set 2 to be the map. So set 1, you just click on it, make sure it's checked, and then you can go create UVs, delete current UV set. In other words, you have to have it on object mode too. There we go. Delete current UV set. And there it gave me the real UVs. So I bet you anything this is the same problem. Yep, there's two UV sets here. So I'm going to click on that one and get rid of it. Delete current UV set. That's something I might have not seen if I didn't have this set up correctly. So now look at it. Much better. Now it would be also a little bit more helpful to have them the same size. Okay, both meshes. And you could just go like that and get it near about. And then if you grab both of these meshes in object mode, you can get a hold of all the UVs at once. You can grab some UVs, control right click to shell, hit W to move them around, and we're going to just arrange these so they're all on the same 0 to 1. So this is 0 to 1 on this side of the UV platter, and we want to keep all our UVs in the same 0 to 1 ratio. Bam. And so what we're going to do is just arrange these so they all fit on the same square. Now just be careful, you want to uniformly scale them like this. Don't scale them like this, and don't scale them like this. So clicking in the center will make it turn yellow, and then I can go like that. And we want to lay these out so they take up as much space as possible. So you're going to play Tetris for a little bit just by going like this. There's a Move UV Shell tool, which is quite helpful. It allows you to grab all the UVs of that shell, and if you hold shift you can grab multiples. So let's arrange these so they take up a little bit more room. We can rotate these, but when we scale them, the rule is we have to scale them all together. And we want to take up as much room as possible. And I'm just going to check these tops. See, the top squares are really small. So I'm going to have to scale those down, which is really going to be helpful because now they fit over here. Perfect. So now I have even more room on the 0 to 1. Okay, so grab all of them, and rotate a lot of it. Now I'm going to have keep out on this. So wouldn't it be a little bit more helpful to probably have it like this? And also, I'm going to have it say keep out here. Wouldn't it be better if the 5s were the right side up? So that's why we make the 1s and 5s. So we have to think about texture direction, and it makes it a little easier to texturize it later on in third-party applications like Photoshop. Just shrink that down just a little bit more and grab this shell and move it over here, and then we're good to go. So that is creating uniform UVs on a very simple little object. Let's go on to the next video.